Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the most magical podcast in the Midwest. That's right, the Magic in the Midwest podcast, starring USA Today bestselling author J.B. Michaels and his more successful wife, Ashley Michaels. And now, your hosts. Oh, all right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Magic in the Midwest podcast. This is podcast number 83. Ash is in a particularly brutal mood today, so it ought to be an interesting one. She's just a big old crank. And
not taking the bait, guys.
Not
That's what he's See, it's really him. Didn't have enough coffee today.
Okay, so guys, USA Today bestselling author of many books, 15, working on another one right now. Very excited about it. So those books range from cozy mystery series, murder mystery series called the Mac and Millie Mysteries. Then you have the Chronicles of the Order series, which is a horror series, like a supernatural series.
Maybe no one cares.
And then we have a action adventure series for the holidays, so the Tannenbaum Taylor series, all of which have won awards and it's lots of fun. So please check those out. They help with the podcast. Also, magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com is a place where you can get a lot of exclusive content for the podcast. So if you want to check that out, please do. You're basically going to be increasing your library by about 50-something episodes, which is pretty cool for as low as $3 a month. You can take a look at those. If you love the content, you could do some more stuff, listen to some more content from the Magic in the Midwest crew here in frozen tundra of the North Midwest. We have met some great people through the podcast. And those people happen to be very useful to podcast listeners and theme park aficionados and theme park fans. And that person is
Emily over at Magical Mouse Travel. She is, like JB said, someone we met through the podcast. She has become a really good friend of ours. She is also a travel agent that specializes in Disney and Universal, also Disney Cruise Line. If you're looking to book a trip, you should definitely reach out to her. She knows all the things. She is a great resource, very knowledgeable. She is also a fellow Midwesterner and goes to Disney and Universal often. If you choose to book through her, it comes at no cost to you, and she will send you a customized iterary. We have used her. You guys are hearing it, right? Is it me or is it JB? I don't know. She will do all that for you, and I don't remember what I was saying, but she can help you do all the things. We have booked a handful of our trips through her, and it's just super great. We've had nothing but the best to say, and it's a great experience. Definitely check her out. The best way to get in touch with her is through email, emily@magicalmousetravel.com. And if you do reach out, let her know that we sent you over.
Alrighty then. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You
guys hear crunching. It's because I want to finish this Oreo, and I'm not going to wait.
This is disgusting.
You didn't wait for me before we started the podcast. I got it out, and you thought I was just going to stare at it for an hour? False. Go.
Wow, you're the worst. You are the worst.
Thank you.
I don't know why I'm here. Okay. Anyway.
Because of my good looks.
All right. So. Okay. So today we are going to take a slight break from not slight break. We're taking a break from the day chronicles of our HHN trip, which
we're going through that real slow.
Well, we had a lot to say. We still have to do twosomes and stuff. We still have to talk about twosomes. Chocolate Emporium. Okay. So we still have to do that, but that will be saved for another day because... Wait,
what was the name of the restaurant?
What?
What was the name of the
restaurant?
I don't
know. Today we're going to take a little slight break from that chronicle, but we did have a chance recently to visit Universal's Endless Summer Resort, Dockside Inn and Suites. That's the official name of the resort. Because we went down and had a weekend trip, sort of. I mean, not really that long. I mean, to be honest with you, Universal in its current state is a weekend trip. I mean, it really is.
I mean, some people go for longer.
Right.
They do. I mean, we were there for longer than a weekend, but we were really only in the parks half days. We did like 4 half days, essentially.
Right. But we decided, hey, we're going to stay. We wanted to stay on Universal property and have access to transportation and whatever. And Universal had this really great deal going on, and we decided to stay at Universal's Endless Summer Resort, Dockside Inn and Suites. I mean, this is an interesting situation that we have. This is part of a long-term strategy for Universal, because in 2025, Universal Orlando basically becomes as much of it's basically Disney World in 1989 when Disney's MGM Studios opened. And that really sort of changed how you did a Disney trip immensely. It totally did. So this is going to be a game changer for 2025. And the resort that we stayed at was part of the overall strategy. We stayed at Dockside Inn, which essentially is a series of towers, very, very large towers that are sort of, honestly, if you're a Disney fan, they remind me in structure very similar to the Swan and the Dolphin resorts.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because they almost look exactly like there's not balconies, there's no, it's just a big tower.
I would argue that they're closer together than the Swan and Dolphin, I feel like, but yeah.
You're wrong, but that's okay. So then
one of us is better with numbers and distances, the other one's a complete moron in that area, but okay. Let's move on.
One of us is a complete moron in that area. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
I'm funny.
You are funny.
Thank you.
I'm funnier. Okay, so here we have the summer Dockside Inn. Okay, now Dockside is, like I said, a series of towers. I think there's 3 towers on Dockside side, and there's a surf side as well that has, I think, 3 towers again. So it is like it's a large resort that holds a lot of people. So that's something to think about when you're there. And we went at a time of year where it probably wasn't anywhere near the capacity that it probably can be. Okay, so for us, take that with a grain of salt. So take this review sort of with a
I don't think a grain of salt.
A grain of salt, because this is
Take it with a big hunk of salt.
Well, but I think we have to delineate that. We've got to get that
for a minute and
out there.
You're
Full
going
disclose.
on and on. Yeah, I know.
Full disclose.
I'm going to talk about that, but I don't think that means take it with a grain of salt. I mean, that's what our opinion is.
Okay.
A grain of salt?
Well,
why would anyone listen?
But I'm just saying that, our experiences may vary.
Well, yeah, that's true anyway.
Okay, so, all right. So this is the official description on Universal Orlando's website. It says, unwind in an all-new escape that's extra affordable, inspired by sand, sea, and breathtaking sunsets. This retreat has a coastal vibe and comes with all the fun and convenience of staying with Universal, including awesome theme park benefits. With plenty of standard rooms and spacious 2-bedroom suites that sleep 6, it's a great spot for families of any size to base their Universal vacation. Okay, so the theme park benefits they're talking about are transportation to the parks and an hour early admission. Those are the perks you get staying at the extra affordable. Technically, if you're looking at Disney terms, this is a value resort. Okay,
Yes.
on Universal property.
So Universal doesn't delineate between, like, they don't really have different classes of resorts that they, like, specifically say, right? Like, Disney will say, this is a value resort. Like, Universal doesn't really do that? Or...
Yeah, I guess there really isn't, like, I mean, they do on their website, there is no official, like, word for Hard Rock versus Endless Summer.
Right, because we were going through them, trying to figure out where we felt the different...
There are clear differences, obviously, because the Royal Pack, Hard Rock, and Portofino...
Well, they have a name for those three, though, don't they?
Those are...
If you stay at a...
I mean, I think they're...
Is it deluxe?
I mean, I feel like they've used the vernacular. It's sort of unofficial, but the vernacular that Disney people use and Disney uses is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like, those are their premier resorts. I mean,
maybe they use Premier,
resorts.
though. Okay,
right.
Maybe that's what they use.
So when you stay at those Royal Pack, Hard Rock, and Portofino, you get Universal Express passes included in your stay for every day that you're there.
It's amazing.
Which is awesome. So technically, you can use the Express Pass the day that you check out. So really, if you stay one night, you're getting an Express Pass for 2 days.
Right. We know people that, maybe it's Tips, I don't know.
Tips.
That goes down and they actually have a place that they stay at that's not on Universal property, but sometimes it's worth it for them to, like, book a night at one of those resorts simply to get...
It's cheaper.
Yeah, math-wise, they worked it out to get, like, an Express Pass for those 2 days, even though they're not actually staying at the hotel. You guys, JB is winking at me, and if there's anything he's not good at, which there's a list.
Oh, shut up.
Winking is at the top.
Oh,
he
gosh.
looks like he kind of promotes himself as this very suave, charming guy, but the wink is a disaster.
I am a suave, charming guy.
You can be.
Whatever.
On our second date, you were not.
Well, I was nervous. Okay.
Well,
because you're so gorgeous. Okay, here we go.
I know.
So that's a really great tip. Thank you, Tips.
From Tips.
Yeah. I just, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So really, Universal's overall strategy, knowing that they're going to have Epic Universe open soon, and so Endless Summer is basically going to be between Epic Universe and the Universal Orlando as we know it right now, which is Islands and Studios and City Walk. So it's going to be kind of an in-between situation. So they know this. And boy, oh boy, I think they've made it clear in their pricing that they're operating at a loss because they're Comcast and Universal. I mean, they've got globs of money. Operating at a loss for the first few years of Endless Summer's existence because they want to cut into the theme park attendance of Disney.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, it's insane. They wanted... So, we stayed for like $88 a night. And here's the cool thing. Dockside is really nice.
Are we going to get to our opinions?
Yes.
'Cause I'm like, geez.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Intro City. Like, so wrap it up, dude.
Dockside is well, let's start doing it right now. I mean, so what do you think of
do you like hearing yourself talk, or
no? But what do you think of the I'm just saying that, like, this is a lot of investments being put into this.
Right, which obviously, right,
Yeah.
JB does have a point. I'm not sure he's getting to it, but it's that they're choosing this price range, and it's not even a break even for them for quite some years down the road.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why they can offer what they're offering, which when we get to our review, you'll understand more, at the price that they're offering it
Yes.
at.
Yes.
Disney it's not that Disney is so much higher, it's that Disney opted not to do that, right?
Right.
They're opting to make a profit much sooner. So
Right. So here you go. So when you drive up to Dockside, okay, there's a big, like, awning, like, entryway, big, huge, like, overhang awning type of thing that comes over, and you just, you hop out, you walk in, and all right, tell us what you think, Ash.
I'll be honest. So overall, I feel like I have nothing bad to say about Dockside. Quite honestly, I was really impressed. And for the price point, even more impressed. The lobby is not overwhelming in any way, but it is, I think, aesthetically very pleasing. It has, it's open when you walk in. The ceilings are high, and there's a store there, and there's a little bar area, and there's a Starbucks that you see on the left that has quite the line.
It's a long
extensive
counter.
Employee count? Whatever. It's big. Well, I mean, I think they assume a lot of people are going to come. Staff, that's the word. I think they're ready to accommodate the amount of guests that are going to use the Starbucks in the morning time.
Yes.
We didn't use it, so
No.
I don't know how long people are waiting there, but it looked sizable.
It did every morning. Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, there are lots of cool things in the store. It wasn't extensive by any means, but it had all necessary items in case you forgot something, and a few, different sweatshirts and hoodies and swim stuff. It had enough that if you needed something, you could grab something.
Yes.
Our room, I'm going to come back down to the cafeteria. Our room...
let me give my impressions of the lobby first.
I want to just say, wrap up my opinion with saying that it wasn't like grand in the sense that it like took your breath away, like when you walk into the Wilderness Lodge. But I mean, it was light, it was decorated well. I liked how I felt when I was in it. I thought it was really nice.
Yes. So I would agree. I think that there is. Oh wait, maybe there's two major towers. No, maybe there's three. I don't know. Let me look. It looks like two from this angle.
I don't think it really matters. Why don't you just give your opinion?
Tower 3.
People can count the towers.
So, I mean, they're kind of big U's, both big buildings. Okay, so the lobby, one thing I'll say about the lobby, it's welcoming. It does have like a beachy, coastal vibe, exactly what they're talking about.
It's not overwhelming, but yeah, it's there. I also want to add real quick that I think it was set up well. Okay.
Right. It's designed to spread people out, where you're not like everybody's not focused and concentrated just in one area. And it's designed that way because this place wants to have a lot of people in it.
Yeah,
so
and we don't really know how many people were in it. Like, were they close to capacity? I don't really think so. So when JB was talking about, worth a grain of salt, I think that there is something to that. We didn't really probably experience it when it's really busy, but it was really nice. Yeah,
it was. So, they have like these like petrified wood, they're fake, but they're petrified wood trees in front of the store, which are cool decoration, kind of like driftwoody type of thing. And then there's a huge the check-in area is very expensive. It's across from the Starbucks you're talking about.
Which I feel like the Starbucks is just as expansive as the check-in line area.
It's about the same. It's about the same, except the check-in area curves around a little bit. But so this area is big. It's accommodating. You could tell, I think the interesting thing about this is that Universal took an approach that was different from Disney and their value resorts. Mm-hmm. Disney's value resorts are smaller size buildings that are spread out, like walking wise, like they're spread out. And there is a central location where everything is, but depending on where you're staying at that Disney Valley Resort, you could be really, really far away from the main area.
The food area or a bus stop.
Right.
So while those buildings might feel smaller and cozier and maybe can be more aesthetically pleasing in a way, there are some caveats to that. And, no one usually loves like a tower, but there are benefits to being in a tower.
Right. So the benefits are everything in the lobby building area, everything you want or need or want to go to is centrally located in this spot. So you've got the Universal store.
No matter where you are, you're not far away from the cafeteria, the store, the Starbucks. It's all right there.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the Pier, do you want to start talking about the other stuff down here, or you want to go up to the room first?
We can stay down.
All right, we'll stay down. So, I agree with Ash. There's a lot of light.
Yeah.
In the lobby, they have huge windows. There's a sense of scale because the ceilings are high, and it does make you feel like, oh, hey, I'm in a nice building in a nice resort, type of feel to it.
Totally.
And it helps that it's brand new. I mean, it's only a couple years old. It smells like it's a couple years old. It's nice when things are new.
The other thing I would note, too, is Disney Valley Resorts tend to have, like, more of a, when I say motel, I mean, like, the door to your room is like from the outside, like you're outside.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is not like that, and I think that automatically kind of makes you feel like it's a more, expensive resort. Like there's some sort of feel to that versus like, that motel feel when you're outside. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just sort of a vibe that some people pick up on. And
that is an interesting way to think about it and look at it. You're right, because it is the motel-y thing, but then you also sort of have like, the hallway noise situation with that. Whereas outside, it's not as bad.
I feel like it's as not. You're probably not going to have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it still happens. So like because you and your family stayed at All Star Sports, you still heard people outside.
So yeah, I would never do it.
So again. Kids are still running up and down like the quote unquote hallway that's the outside of your door.
Right.
Right.
There was some of that, yes.
Yeah. And when we get up to the room, we'll go more in depth, but we noticed there was pretty good soundproofing from room to room, but not from the hallway. It sounded like those people were in your room.
Yeah, the hallway door is not the soundproofing is good inside, you're right.
Yeah, room to room. Yeah.
But yeah, so the lobby, the lighting, everything is really nice.
It's pleasant.
It is. It's a pleasant atmosphere. It does. Yeah, like I said, newness does help. Let's face it. So, also down here, if you were to walk towards the store and take a left, then you get into the like. There's a set of bathrooms. There's some bathrooms over there. And then there's the Pier 8 Market. And this is very similar. Now, this was lifted from Art of Animation. So Art of Animation has a very similar, if you've stayed there, has a very similar cafe situation.
Oh, okay.
Where like they have multiple stations where you can grab food wherever you want to grab the food from. And then there's a few registers that you could just walk up to and use. So it was similar. I don't know if you remember when we ate at Art of Animation. It was similar to that.
To be honest, for me, it feels a lot less chaotic in there, and it's not as like expansive. Like Art of Animation was almost overwhelming.
It's big.
Eating area.
It's big, yeah.
And this was like you didn't really have. I mean, there would essentially, you can tell there's room built into the cafeteria for when there are lines at those little stations. But at Art of Animation, it was. I mean, I feel like it was that times 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like, because it must be much bigger, can hold more people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a little overwhelming. It was almost like a mall when we went in there. This one felt smaller.
Yeah.
Which may become a problem down the line. I don't know.
Well, I will say it was interesting. So it is pretty big. So Pier 8, lots of cool. It's basically just a nice cafeteria, and the food options were good.
I have 0 complaints about the cafeteria. I loved it. I think they had all the food that you really want. Not anything too fancy. I mean, they did have like a few nicer, like more what I would consider like upscale sandwiches, like more than just like turkey, like a little bit fancier type of sandwich or whatever. But they had like all the foods that you want to eat on vacation. Just like simple, tasty food. Like I got eggs and bacon for breakfast, and I think the lady gave me like a ton of scrambled eggs and like 9 pieces of bacon. And that happened every morning. Yeah. It was amazing. And then you went down and got breadsticks or pizza.
I got waffles, grilled cheese and for kids, and it was like $6.
And they also had a bunch of grab and go stuff. So like just subs ready to go that you could grab and salads. Everything I had was very good.
Yeah. I mean, I will say they did a really good job. And, at least our breakfast every morning for the three of us was around $20.
Which is good.
Dinners were more like 30 to 35, but other than that, and lunches. But other than that, I mean, that's really affordable. And like you said, Ash, the food was good. Like, I enjoyed it.
And it's food that most people are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like basic, tasty food.
Yes. And, and you don't have to, like, one little tip from Tips. Hey, Tips. Second time seeing you today. What's up, Tippies?
Tippies.
So, Tips, you don't have to, like, you can tell the people at the stations, like, if you just want eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
You don't need to get, like, the whole big breakfast plate.
Yeah, that's what I just went up because they had a whole big breakfast plate on there, and I said, can I just have eggs and bacon? And there was no, she was, sure. She just
and
put it on
they
there
don't charge you for it. They charge you lower amount.
Yeah.
So they actually were like, oh, it's just eggs and bacon, and they actually give you a reduced rate rather than getting a bunch of the food that you're not going to eat.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just going to have eggs and bacon, just order eggs and bacon just tell them to plop some eggs and bacon out of a little
ask.
plate.
Everyone we asked for like a custom thing, they were like, sure, it was not a problem. So
yeah, they were just like, all right, that's fine. So, and the people there were nice. I didn't have any issues with any of the staff at Pier 8 Market. So that was neat. Then, of course, there is a bar on the other side, the Sunset Lounge, which is near the area of Pier 8. It's actually, if you were to walk into the doors of the whole resort, and just go left, immediately go left, you would walk into the bar. It's right there.
Yeah, it's not like a separate room. It's just
got sort of TVs for
open.
Yeah, it's
area
open
with just like literally like a bar with probably like 10 seats or something.
Right. And at the cafe, they did do the Disney thing. So we bought Endless Summer mugs, which did wound up obviously paying for itself. It did, because we used it every day, multiple times. So we had Endless Summer mugs that we paid for in advance to use the Coke Freestyle machines, which is great. Coke Freestyle, like that. And then, of course, the coffee. That's why I didn't go to Starbucks. I just filled up my cup with the coffee that was there at the cafeteria.
Also, though, I would say if you have a child under, I don't know, maybe 10-ish. Maybe
you don't really need the milk.
You don't really need it because a drink comes with all the kids' meals. Like Harrison could have picked out an apple juice and all that every single time. We didn't really know. Yeah. We got him a mug. I mean, we'll use the mug. It's not the end of the world. We used it to fill up stuff for him at the end of the day in the hotel room. But, you don't really need to do that. So you can grab a water, milk, apple juice. There's a few other things you can choose from for each of their meals.
Yeah. Yes. So I would look into that as well. So getting a resort mug, it's, similar to the Disney situation where you have to pay for the amount of days that you're there.
And then you can bring it home and leave it in your car one day for like 7 months.
Yes, that's what I do.
So,
yes.
Bonus.
Bonus.
What were you going to say?
Bonus. Okay.
This is not rated E.
You're right. So, no, but one interesting thing, too, is that I've noticed that there is like a bank of right by the freestyle machines, like, and in front of the freestyle machines and the condiment area and whatever, there is a bank of booths that everybody usually sits in. Like, there's a lot more seating. And people, when I went down there, to grab coffee or do whatever in the morning, most people were stuck, like, it just went right to that middle spot.
Yeah, so like between the area of the actual cafeteria, there's a lot of seating, and then you get up to that bank where there's, the Coke machines and all that. But behind that is a bunch of open more seating, and it's right in front of those big windows.
Yeah.
And everyone just kind of seems to forget about that area.
Yes.
And that's where we were sitting most of the time.
And there's even a spot, like, right on the side, too, the side of those booths area that has a bunch more tables as well.
And it's not really like hiding. I mean, those people had to know it was there because it's just all sort of open. But I think maybe they were just forgetting to.
People just were like, "Yeah, I just want to sit right here." Whatever. So to each their own. But it was interesting. I kept noticing. I was like, why does no one sit over here? I mean, I liked it. Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna sit over here and be chill over here. We're away from all of you people. But yeah, it's a very nice cafe, the Pier 8 market. It's cool, very reminiscent of Art of Innovation, and, the Caribbean has a kind of a cafe marketplace. Coronado Springs has a cafe marketplace. All of them are sort of similar in a way, but it was good. It was really a good place. Definitely definitely worth it. If you definitely check it out if you go. So then we have the pool area. So if we walk out, we could talk about the pool. The pool's pretty big, and there's tons of seating, and there is a pool bar as well. The Oasis Beach Bar, the Wave Makers pool bar. So there's a lot of cool. There's a beach bar that we actually had drinks at one of the nights, and the pools are heated. We could have gone in. It would have been pleasant, I'm sure, to swim in, but we did not. Which I don't know why we just didn't, because we were busy. And then of course we had. The pool area is basically like in the middle of the U shape of the towers. So like, if you could get a pool view if you wanted. We didn't. I always said no, it doesn't matter. Which actually I liked, because we actually had a cool view of like the big Ferris wheel and like the needles and spires from, I think, Fun Stop or whatever.
Was it just? Did you say there's just one pool?
Yeah. No. Well, there's one pool. There's a pool. I think per side. I think there's 2 pools. Yes.
For dockside.
Yeah. There's 2 pools for dockside. There's Tower 1's pool and Tower 2's pool.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I think there would have to be.
Yeah, there is. So it's pretty neat. The pool area is really pleasant and nice. I mean, really, just you don't. I mean, really, it's like Universal really wants to capture that part of the market, because it is really nice. I mean, it really is.
It is. I mean, it really is. I would highly recommend staying here if if you're wanting to save some money but still have a really pleasant experience. This is a great option. Yes,
it is. Okay, so, and then of course we would head up to our let's talk about the menu of the bar, the Oasis Beach Bar. Basically is kind of a repeat menu of things you would find at like Pat O'Brien's. Like, they have a hurricane, their version of a hurricane, which they call the Storm or something. That's what we got to drink. Very fruity, very
strong.
Very strong.
Not really my type of drink.
Yeah,
but
was it?
I mean, it was vacation, fine. So I tried it.
Right, we tried it. Right, it was okay. Yeah. So then we went up to our room, and we were in Tower 1 on the 9th floor. Basically, our room overlooked the Pier 8 market and the big awning for the main building. So our room overlooked the main building. Literally, if you look down, you could have seen me eating, my grilled cheese sandwich from our room, because you could see into the Pier 8 market a little bit from where we were. Okay, the rooms themselves, small. Like, you're not getting a large room.
Though. I mean, I expected them to be smaller.
I mean, it was about the same. I thought it was going to be small.
We've been in smaller rooms. I don't know. We've been in really cramped rooms before, and this. I mean, I think it was comparable. I mean, right? It's different when we stay DVC a lot at Disney, so that's different. But I think that, I mean, it was a decent. I don't think they're as small as the Aventura rooms.
No, no, the Aventura rooms are smaller.
Yeah,
absolutely smaller.
And we were not like running into each other. I mean, we had room. There was no like extra little space. You know how like Cabana Bay has like that extra little sitting area. You don't have that. But I didn't feel like cramped. I didn't feel cramped. It's not a huge room. I think it's just like a regular sized hotel room.
Yeah. It was decent. It kind of has like a shiplappy. It's very white.
There's no table. There's no little table and chairs or anything like that.
No. There is a chair. There is one chair.
You're right. There is
a chair.
You can sit
with a lamp above you.
You know, a lot of times you go to a hotel where there's like a little dining.
And under the TV was technically the desk chair.
Right.
Like
they did. Yeah.
Technically, like you could sit there. You could pull out like a seat that doubles as storage and you could just sit on it. And
I was going to ask, we
that.
didn't really unpack our stuff. Some people really like to do that and put their stuff in drawers. There wasn't really a lot of room to do that. I mean, I know there was some room, but I don't think if you had 4 people staying in there, I think
would be cramped.
Maybe 1 or 2 people could undo their stuff, maybe.
Which if you stayed at a 2-bedroom, like they have a 2-bedroom suite type of thing.
That's a 1-bedroom.
It's really 1 bedroom, but it has like an
2
extra
rooms.
bed.
There's
Right.
2 rooms.
Sort of 2 rooms. Yeah.
Like when Disney does a 2-bedroom, there's a living area in the middle that's a room, and then 2 separate bedrooms from that. This is 2 rooms with beds.
Yeah.
So technically a 2-bedroom, I guess, but just be aware of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And a little table that you could eat at.
Right.
Yeah.
And only 1 bathroom.
Yes.
That
still only 1
was
bathroom.
not a smart choice for them, I don't think.
The interesting part about this was, I don't know if it's to cut costs or whatever, but you had to put in your key to have the lights work in the bathroom.
I think it's actually smart.
Like the bathroom area.
Why do people need, people are leaving lights on and stuff on when
That's
they're
true.
out of the room.
That's true.
If you're in the room, you have a key, so.
Right. That's fine.
I don't know if you've ever had that experience before. That was the case when I was in Europe 10 years ago. Almost all the hotels I stayed in, that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
But it also worked for our air, so you literally couldn't leave your air conditioning on when you weren't in the room.
Oh,
It
interesting.
was a way to save money. So it was hot, but then it cooled off real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So the rooms, the beds were comfy, but they're not like super big beds. I mean, they're, were they double beds or were they queen?
No, they were queen beds.
Queen beds, just queen bed.
I think they were comfortable enough. I mean, I didn't think they were uncomfortable.
Yeah. The pillows were, I don't know, for me, the pillows were okay. They weren't like, they kind of were smallish. I don't know, may have a big head, but
I think they were regular size.
regular size.
Normally we don't
pillows.
review pillows.
Well, I'm reviewing the pillows.
You guys will notice JB is definitely more critical of Universal. I think it's very apparent.
What do you mean? I'm critical of
We
Disney.
never talk about Disney pillows. Like you're trying to find
because I noticed
something.
the pillows. I noticed the pillows.
I know you.
I was like, this is different. This pillow feels rude. Okay,
No, I am someone that's more uncomfortable than you most of the time, and I thought the pillows were just fine.
Right.
So you can just crawl back into the hole you came out of.
Okay.
Go away.
Yes, I will. Soon. All right. So anyway, so the room was nice. Like Ashley said, the noise abatement in the hallway is not good. The noise abatement when you're in your room, when you can't really hear people in the other room unless they're being super duper duper loud. But other than that, like, you didn't really hear much.
Which the people next to us were pretty loud.
They're watching the playoff
They're watching
games
the game, and I think it was like a group of younger guys, probably like in their 20s or something. And when I was out in the hallway, I could hear them very loudly in the hallway. And then in our room, like you could hear them screaming, like doing those high pitch, like laughing, like when something was happening in the game and reacting to things. But it wasn't enough to like keep me awake.
Yeah.
So, and I have very sensitive hearing. So,
and then another huge win. We're gonna go into some of the negatives soon because we've been mostly positive. One huge win is the bus situation. Like there is never a lack. At least the time we were there. There was a bus backing up another bus every single time we wanted to go to City Walk. Every single time.
And every single time we came back, there was probably 3 buses
we
sitting there.
Never waited for a bus.
Ever.
It was insane. Okay, now, Universal, apparently, this comes with a price, though. They know that they have a lot more capacity at Endless Summer. So they, naturally, if you've got more capacity at some place, you're going to send more buses to the place that has the most capacity. That makes sense.
Attention, Disney. Maybe you should listen up.
But apparently, if you stay at a higher tier resort, you get worse bus service, which I think is wrong.
Well, that's what we heard from a few other people, and it definitely seemed to be the case from what we were...
From our eye test, when we would go down back through City Walk, which is a pain in the butt. It's one other knock on it, the fact that you have to walk all the way through City Walk to get to the parks, and get dropped off and go, whatever. But so apparently Cabana Bay's bus, which happened to us too when we stayed at Cabana, the buses are not as frequent for Cabana Bay as they are for Endless Summer. Endless Summer, the buses are
endless.
Like, it's crazy.
Endless summer, endless buses.
Yes. So you get to go on those buses and it's like no problem. It's just like you're there. We'll get you back.
And I don't think it was luck. It wasn't like we were coming down and then, if you have to wait 15 minutes for a bus, it's not the end of the world.
No,
to kind of expect it. But there was, if we had missed a bus, there was another bus behind it ready and a bus behind that one.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. So they really are, again, like we said, investing a lot into Endless Summer and making sure that your experience at Endless Summer is great.
Yeah, the other resorts where people were waiting, you could tell that their experience, like there were a lot of buses that weren't there, people that said they had waited for a while. I ran into a guy in line that was telling me how he stayed at Cabana Bay and had a lot of trouble with the buses.
Getting back and forth.
And he said that, but not here, not at Dockside or Endless Summer.
So he stays at Royal Pack
or Endless Summer.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Cabana Bay and like Sapphire Falls and all that kind of fall in that like moderate category. So it's almost like, right, they're catering to Endless Summer, this quote unquote value resort. Or, you stay at Royal Pack so you can basically walk if you want to.
You can walk to City Walk. Yeah.
So yeah, interesting to hear
or
other
take the
people
boat.
say that.
Yeah.
Right,
So no problems getting on buses. That was amazing. Like, that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was spoiled because I spoiled myself. I would stay at Royal Pack a lot, back in the day, and I was just used to being able to walk back to my resort or take the boat. And it was never an issue. So, and you didn't have to deal with the crowds walking back through City Walk to get to the transportation hub.
The other plus with Endless Summer is that the bus ride is literally like
7 minutes
down the street.
Yeah, it's 7 minutes basically.
Sometimes at Disney, and that's just the way it is, the parks are spread out, or even if you stay at Cabana Bay, like we had to like kind of go this roundabout way to get where we were going. It wasn't that long of a bus ride, but It was longer. These are short. This is a very short bus ride, and the buses were always there.
Yeah. So and here's the other thing about it. It was, we did, if you stay at Dockside, you've got to be prepared because you definitely drop off at Surfside first, and then they take you over to Dockside. It adds maybe 3 to 4 minutes.
It was, it felt quick. It didn't feel like it took that long, to be honest.
No, you could tell Universal thought about the complaints of Disney that people had. And I had an interesting survey as well, which I'll talk about at the end. But the survey I got about our trip. Why can't I talk? Our trip. The survey I got about our trip.
I want to add something when you're done, though.
Yeah. So, really, the situation transportation-wise is really good. Okay, now here comes some of the natural negatives of staying at a value resort with huge towers.
I'm not done with the bus yet. I want to add one more.
Oh, you want to add more things?
One more note on the bus situation is that I want to give credit where credit is due, and they did a really good job with that at this resort, so credit to them. I also want to say, though, it's different at Universal. Disney is a whole different beast in that there's buses going to 4 different locations. Actually, 5 if you consider, or 6 if you consider the water parks. Universal, they go to Volcano Bay, but when we were there, most people weren't doing that. It was, a little bit cooler on our last trip. These buses, no matter which park you're going to, islands or studios, you're being dropped off at the same place and they can just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Right.
So I think it's sort of like this perfect storm that helps the buses run really well to this resort. It's very close, location-wise.
Yeah.
And they're just going one place and back. And one place, like just dropping off at City Walk and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's not having to time out a bus getting all the way to Animal Kingdom and something happening and it taking a few more minutes for it to come back just to throw off the gap between the buses to be way more.
Yes.
It's, I'm not trying to give Disney a pass. They're not making great decisions all the time lately, and I know the buses have been kind of a nightmare over there. But they did, real well with this.
They did.
But they have an easier setup, to be honest.
They do. Now, you can make the argument. I mean, I still think, and this is totally biased, I'm just going to be honest, the monorail system is superior to any bus.
Well, yeah.
Because getting on the monorail from the Polynesian to go to Magic Kingdom is a breeze, or even the Contemporary, and then getting on the monorail, switching the monorail to Epcot is also a breeze. I mean, it's amazing. So, that's one interesting thing. But as far as buses are concerned, and you're right, Ash, given their geography and the situation that they're in, I mean, it's very easy. It's very, very, very easy. Different type of situation. You're right.
Disney, it's a lot harder for them to pull off the same thing.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more.
So here is the what are some of the caveats of staying at a value, and staying in a situation where there's a tower. Okay.
The elevators.
The elevator bank, you guys, area. There's 4 elevators in the elevator bank area, and I noticed that the stairs are not clearly marked. That must have been the lawyers.
Plus, I mean, it's a
the
tower,
lawyers did
so
that.
if you're on, like, floor 15, who wants to take the stairs? This isn't, like, floor 3, and there's a line at the elevator, and you're like, oh, we'll just walk.
Right.
This is different.
Right. The elevator, now they supposedly fit 25 people, each elevator.
No.
Now, that's what it says. 21 to 25. Way. Yes, I looked.
I know, but I'm saying we were in there with like 6 other people and we were jammed. Where would they be?
It's on the sign.
I'm not 20. Arguing that there's a sign. I'm just saying there's no way.
Right.
So, who are these people? Are they all babies?
I don't know.
Stacked on top of each other?
So So in the peak times at night when you're ready to go back to your room and you're just tired as hell and you want to go up, you're going to wait a little bit.
You might. Yeah.
You might.
We mostly did during those busier times, like when it was dinner time.
And you know what? It's weird. A line sort of organically forms in the area, which is good. But also, I don't know if you need it.
How many were there in the bank? 4 or 6? 4.
No, I think it was 4. So it was that's kind of a rough spot. And Pier 8 can be very, very busy and very, very crowded very fast, in those
during
peak
those
times.
busy. Now, one other thing to note is that during the time we were there, the parks were closed early. So
yeah.
A lot of people, I would say, I'm generalizing here, a lot of people that are staying here have families, young kids, and so they're not going to spend a ton of time at City Walk, like till late hours of the night. They're going to be back by 10-ish or before. So there's, during the summer, maybe that's not the case. The parks are open a little later. Maybe those banks aren't as busy until, maybe that will help kind of spread things out a little. I don't know. But we did usually, we grabbed dinner and we would run back up to the room. People coming in from the pool, people coming in from here, and there's like all these people waiting and you didn't even know where you were on the line, kind of. You just sort of would kind of try and keep track of it.
Yes. So, that's one little caveat. Also something to think about. Valley Resorts, and this is just it is a knock. I'm just going to go right at it. Valley Resorts tend to have a lot of school groups. Mm-hmm. They tend to have a lot of big, young tour group, young people, teenagers, whatever. My sister had she had a different experience. Yeah. Her experience was a little worse.
They were in a different tower. They were in the other tower.
Right.
And I think it's the luck of the draw.
Right. She had a hard time sleeping because there was a lot of activity.
And for what it's worth, Jim's sister that we were there with, she is not a complainer.
She's a very easygoing person.
She is not someone that will be easily annoyed by something like that, where I tend to be more like that.
Oh my gosh, big crap, yeah.
But she is very easygoing and will put up with a lot in that area. So the fact that she mentioned it means it was fairly severe. And I know the noise was going on until she said 3 a.m, maybe later. And listen, I think it's great that school groups do stuff like this. I'm not trying to knock it. Unfortunately, it's just what happens when a bunch of teenagers are together and there's very minimal supervision. They're up late, they're loud, they don't think about... I don't think they're all, bad. I think they just don't think. They're not thinking about people trying to sleep. It's 2 a.m, we shouldn't be running up and down the hall, screaming at each other.
Right.
They don't see anyone, so they don't think anyone can hear them. type of situation.
Yes, that's exactly it. So so you can have that, and that will happen more often
because it's less expensive
at
so
a
they're
place
stay there.
where it's not as expensive. That happened to us at All Star Sports. Your sister and your brother-in-law had a very bad experience at an All Star. I'm not saying that they're all bad or your experience will be bad. I'm just saying.
It's a risk, a higher risk you will run the less expensive the hotel is, generally speaking.
Right.
Because there's a lot of kids and they're packing them in there.
Band programs,
probably not
cheerleading squads.
$300 a night.
Right. And that's totally, I get that.
Yeah. But, sleep is important. It's the number one thing that keeps us from being crabby.
That's why you rent a room.
If that happens multiple times, on your trip, it could make for a very difficult trip.
Yes. So there are caveats,
right?
To staying at a place like this. Still great. I mean, our experience was great. My sister's was different. Mm-hmm. She definitely made it clear that she had a hard time sleeping.
And they all looked tired.
They
felt
did.
bad.
They did. So a little rough, depending on the experience. Experiences may vary, of course.
And we had a really bad experience with that at the Polynesian.
Right.
Which is a very high-end resort, very expensive. It can happen anywhere, but I think the groups are where it can happen the most.
Yeah, you're just going to run into some things. Your likelihood of running into things, or you run the risk.
And I will say it's not just teenagers, but sometimes you'll find groups of young adults, young 20s that are staying real late at City Walk and have had some
drunk
drinks.
Yeah.
And they're usually a little bit better behaved in the room, but they'll be talking real loud as they're coming back to the room. And
yes,
I think that happens maybe a little more because of City Walk. I don't feel like it's as common at Disney. I don't feel like. I feel like a lot of young people will stay at a cheaper resort, split the room, and go to City Walk, and then take the bus back, which, good for you for being responsible.
Right.
Fun vacation, but, it's different when you have kids or you're trying to sleep and it's 4 a.m.
Right.
So
it's going to be an interesting future for this resort area. If I don't return to Dockside, I would not be disappointed. I just it was nice. I could go back. Do I want to? Not necessarily. But
I think that's more of a personal thing.
That's my personal thing. But I'm saying if you want to do it, it's great. I mean, it is. I think we explored.
I think it's a really great option for that price point. The elevator, those are things that, those are
you're going to have to deal with
stuff. It's not a big deal, right?
Right.
But it's just something that we just happen to notice. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But transportation, pool, food, check-in, Starbucks, honestly, I don't have a bad thing to say about it, especially for the price point. I highly recommend staying there.
And the HHN crew, if people don't want to spend the money, go to Royal Pack or something. I'm going to recommend that. I'll be absolutely go there.
Yeah, and we stayed somewhere else off property to sort of save money. And to be honest, I definitely think Dockside or Endless Summer is much better.
Oh, yes, totally.
The other place.
Totally.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with the other place.
No,
but the room was bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. I highly recommend it.
Yes. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our review of Endless Summer, Dockside Inn and Suites. High marks for us.
Yeah.
I would give it an 8. I gave it an 8. Solid 8 out of 10. What would you give it?
I would say the same.
Okay.
Considering the price point, I'd say a 9.
Okay, you're giving it higher. So that's great. But yeah, if you guys want to book a trip, contact our bud. Emily at Magical Mouse Travel.
Yes, she's also stayed there before, and
she loves it too.
Yeah.
She said she really enjoyed it. She did. So, but all right, ladies and gentlemen, check out the books of JB. Please rate, review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, wherever you listen to podcasts. YouTube, like and subscribe us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the Midwest. See you later.